The hegemony had perfected conquest. Across 47 star systems, their silver fleets descended like clockwork. Scan, subjugate, strip mine, move on. They calculated Earth would fall in 16 days. The primitive humans possessed crude nuclear weapons and couldn't even cooperate to prevent their own climate collapse. But the hegemony made one fatal miscalculation. They confused civilization with weakness. Admiral Cathara stood before the tactical hologram, her forearms manipulating data streams with practiced efficiency. The blue marble of Earth rotated slowly, marked with red zones indicating population centers. 7 billion targets. No unified planetary defense. No energy shields. No quantum weaponry. Standard Protocol 7, she commanded her bridge crew. Orbital bombardment of military installations, followed by ground deployment. Resistance estimates? Negligible, Admiral. Their weapons are chemical-based projectiles. Analysis suggests complete capitulation within 2 solar cycles. Kithara's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. Another world for the hegemony's expansion. Another species to join the labor collectives. She had conquered civilizations that wielded plasma and bent gravity to their will. These humans with their metal tubes and explosive powders would barely register as an inconvenience. The ships appeared without warning on a Tuesday morning. Massive geometric structures that blotted out sections of sky across every major city. Then came the broadcast, a synthesized voice speaking every human language simultaneously. Your resistance is futile. Surrender your weapons and prepare for integration into the hegemony collective. Compliance ensures survival. Military bases across the globe erupted in coordinated strikes. Fighter jets launched to intercept, only to be swatted from the sky by energy weapons that turned matter into superheated plasma. Tank battalions fired everything they had at landed vessels, achieving nothing but scorch marks on seamless hulls. Within 6 hours, conventional human military might lay in smoking ruins. The hegemony ground forces deployed next. Tall insectoid warriors in powered armor that deflected bullets like raindrops. They moved through cities with methodical precision, establishing control points and cataloging human resources. But something unexpected happened in the ruins of downtown Manhattan. Dr. Zara Okafor crouched in the wreckage of Columbia University's physics laboratory, her hands steady despite the chaos outside. While most humans fled the invaders, she had done something else entirely. She had studied them. For 18 hours, she had observed their technology, their tactics, their movements, and she had noticed something the hegemony's own analysis had missed. Their energy weapons created a specific electromagnetic signature. Their armor had cooling vents that activated predictably. Their communication arrays operated on frequencies that could be disrupted. Zara was a theoretical physicist who specialized in exotic matter research. But more importantly, she was human, and humans had a particular talent for turning observations into weapons. Working by flashlight in the destroyed lab, she jury-rigged components from a particle accelerator, a medical MRI machine, and ironically, parts from a broken gaming console. The device she created looked like technological insanity, wires and circuits held together with duct tape and desperate engineering. But when she activated it, something extraordinary happened. The hegemony patrol passing outside suddenly stumbled. Their armor flickered. Their weapons powered down. For 30 seconds, the invincible conquerors were just confused aliens in suddenly non-functional equipment. 30 seconds was enough. The human resistance fighters who had been hiding in the subway tunnels emerged with improvised weapons. Molotov cocktails, modified nail guns, even sharpened rebar. They swarmed the disoriented patrol with a ferocity that surprised everyone, including themselves. When the electromagnetic pulse faded and the alien systems came back online, 3 hegemony warriors lay dead, and the humans had vanished back into the tunnels like ghosts. Admiral Cathari reviewed the combat reports with growing unease. Initial projections had been accurate. Human conventional forces had been neutralized efficiently. But something else was happening. Something that tactical computers couldn't quantify. Humans were learning. In Seoul, they had figured out that subway systems provided electromagnetic shielding, turning the underground into a vast network of hidden bases. In Lagos, they discovered that hegemony sensors couldn't distinguish between humans and certain animals. leading to attacks by resistance fighters disguised within herds of livestock. Most disturbing of all, they were reverse engineering hegemony technology at an impossible rate. Admiral, her tactical officer reported, we're receiving scattered reports of humans wielding our energy weapons. Initial assumption was battlefield salvage, but engineering analysis suggests they're modifying them. Modifying them how? Making them more powerful, Admiral, and less stable. Kithra's compound eyes narrowed. Clarify. The humans appear to be removing safety protocols. They're turning our precision instruments into crude but effective explosives. A single modified energy rifle detonated in Sector 7 caused a cascade failure that destroyed an entire command post. This was unprecedented. Conquered species typically cowered or fled. They didn't study their conquerors and turned captured technology into improvised superweapons. Zara's electromagnetic pulse device had been crude, effective for only seconds at a time. But those seconds had been enough to prove a point that spread across the resistance network faster than any hegemony communication. The invaders could be beaten. Working through ham radio networks, encrypted internet channels, and even carrier pigeons, human resistance cells began sharing discoveries. A farmer in Iowa had noticed that hegemony vehicles avoided certain mineral deposits. Their navigation systems were vulnerable to specific magnetic fields. A mechanic in Mumbai had figured out how to hotwire alien atmospheric processors, turning them into area denial weapons. In a bombed-out observatory outside Rome, Zara coordinated with resistance cells across 6 continents. She had become something unplanned and unprecedented, a human who understood alien technology better than some aliens did. The key is thinking differently, she explained during a clandestine video conference with resistance leaders. They build for efficiency and standardization. Every system has the same protocols, the same interfaces, the same vulnerabilities. They've optimized themselves into predictability. A former Russian Special Forces operator leaned into his camera. What do you need? Every piece of hegemony tech you can capture. Every observation about their behavior. Every pattern you notice. We're going to do what humans do best. Which is? Zara smiled grimly. We're going to cheat. 3 months after the invasion began, Admiral Catastrophic faced a situation no hegemony commander had ever encountered. She was losing, not to superior technology or overwhelming force, but to sheer unpredictability. Humans fought like no species in the galactic database. They used tactics that made no logical sense, turned civilian infrastructure into weapons, and displayed a disturbing willingness to sacrifice themselves for abstract concepts like freedom and revenge. Status report, she commanded. 17 command posts overrun, 43 patrols missing or destroyed. The humans have established autonomous manufacturing facilities in locations we cannot detect. They're producing weapons based on our technology but following no recognizable engineering principles. Show me. The hologram displayed a human-modified hegemony plasma rifle. Instead of the elegant, efficient design of the original, this version was a monstrosity of added components, jury-rigged power supplies, and what appeared to be decorative human symbols welded to the barrel. Analysis indicates this weapon should explode upon firing, the tactical officer continued. Instead, it projects plasma bursts with 3 times the power output of our standard infantry weapons. We cannot determine how it remains stable. Kithra stared at the impossible device. Human engineering makes no sense. That appears to be the point, Admiral. Our predictive algorithms cannot account for illogical solutions that nonetheless function. In her hidden laboratory beneath the ruins of Manhattan, Zara made the discovery that would change everything. Working with salvaged quantum processors and human intuition, she had cracked the hegemony's most closely guarded secret. Their ships weren't just technology, they were alive. The hulls were grown, not built. The navigation systems were neural networks. The weapons were biological constructs wrapped in mechanical interfaces. The hegemony had achieved their technological superiority by merging biology with engineering in ways that created semi-living vessels. But living things could be sick. Living things could be infected. Working with microbiologists from around the world, Zara developed something the hegemony had never imagined possible, a computer virus that was literally viral. a hybrid digital biological weapon that could infect both ship systems and the organic components that controlled them. "This is insane," whispered Dr. Chen, a former CDC researcher who had joined the resistance after Atlanta fell. "We're talking about weaponizing evolution itself." "They brought the war to us," Zara replied, uploading the viral code into a captured hegemony communication device. "Time to show them what 4 billion years of terrestrial, biological warfare looks like." The infection spread through the hegemony fleet like wildfire through dry wood. Ships that had conquered worlds suddenly found their systems rebelling. Navigation computers sent vessels into uncontrolled spins. Weapons turned on their own forces. Life support systems began pumping hallucinogenic compounds instead of breathable atmosphere. Admiral Cathera watched her flagship's bridge dissolve into chaos as control panels sprouted what appeared to be flowering plants, and the main view screen began displaying ancient human television broadcasts instead of tactical data. "Admiral!" her communications officer screamed over the sound of systems failing throughout the ship. "The humans, they've done something to our vessels. The ship minds are changing." Through the bizarre light show that had replaced her tactical display, Kithara saw something that filled her with primal terror. Human ships were rising from Earth's surface, not the crude chemical rockets she had dismissed, but vessels built from salvaged hegemony technology and powered by impossible human engineering. Leading them was a ship that registered as simultaneously alive and artificial, biological and mechanical, following every rule of physics while somehow violating all of them. On her command screen, a transmission appeared. A human female with dark skin and intense eyes looked directly at her through the impossible clarity of hegemony communication technology. "Admiral Cathara," Zara said calmly, "my name is Dr. Zara Okafor. I believe you have something that belongs to us." "What?" Cathara managed to ask. "Our planet." The hegemony retreat was unprecedented in their 3-millennium history of conquest. For the first time, their perfect war machine had encountered something it couldn't calculate, couldn't predict, couldn't overcome: human creativity born from desperation. As the last hegemony ships limped away from Earth's solar system, their hulls scarred by weapons that shouldn't exist, and their crew minds haunted by images of impossible human resilience, they carried with them a message that would echo across the galaxy. Earth was off limits, not because of superior technology or overwhelming force, but because humanity possessed something far more dangerous: the ability to turn any situation, no matter how hopeless, into a weapon. In her laboratory, now expanded into a sprawling complex built from human ingenuity and salvaged alien technology, Zara looked up at the stars through a viewport made from hegemony transparent aluminum. Somewhere out there, other species would hear about what happened to the invincible hegemony fleet. They would learn that the small blue planet was defended not by energy shields or quantum weapons, but by beings who treated impossible odds as personal challenges. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but after the hegemony's failed invasion, it contained something it had never possessed before: a species that had looked at alien conquerors and asked, "Is that the best you can do?" And then proceeded to prove it wasn't nearly enough. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through technological superiority, but through something far rarer and more precious: the stubborn refusal to accept defeat as an option. The cost of underestimating humanity would indeed echo across the stars, but so would something else: the knowledge that somewhere in the galaxy, on a small blue world orbiting an unremarkable star, lived beings who turned every ending into a beginning, every defeat into a victory, and every invasion into an opportunity to prove that the most dangerous weapon in the universe wasn't technology. It was hope armed with ingenuity and absolutely nothing left to lose. The hegemony learned that day what every bully throughout history eventually discovers: there's always someone willing to stand up and fight back, and sometimes, just sometimes, that someone wins.